Aloha, my friends. Finally, we shall walk and talk plants, and nothing will happen. This is my third attempt to show you my garden and whatnot. We'll just start right here with these clematis. Got a purple columbine down in there. And then we've got this white variety that actually you can see here gets slightly tinged with this sort of purple from this one. I don't think it's from that one, but it's just that color. And this is kind of a rare one because the foliage on this one is also kind of frilly and really has a kind of a tropical look, and it kind of hangs. And I'll try to show it to you here. These got frost, a little bit of frost on them, but you can see they're more of a sprawling, and these leaves get pretty big and they're shiny and they're leathery. The typical clematis foliage looks like this. Just 3 leaves, usually in that shape, that color. And I almost killed this one last year by doing something stupid. I put mulch, excuse me, I put mulch over the top of it where the new shoots come out at the wrong time. So the new shoots were going through that new mulch and rotting and then falling over. And so I learned a lesson about mulching. You really don't want to mulch right on top of the roots of any plant. And I didn't really mean to do it, but as you can see, it's so jungly in there. I just kind of was throwing some mulch and a pile ended up in the wrong spot. Now this rose right here, it's my very first rose. She's soaked. Very first rose off of this rose bush that I transplanted. This is the second year it's been here, and it is just covered with buds. Covered. I'll show you on the outside when I go down. It's a climber, and she basically spent the first year after I transplanted her just establishing, because she was growing under this oak tree and wasn't getting good light, and I just wasn't being treated well. I think people just come along and cut her to the ground, and that was called trimming. So she wasn't happy, but you can see, look at this big growing piece that's reaching up here. So she's very happy now. Peach iris, smells beautiful. All right, and then back here we got this California, I'm not sure if it's a Phyllophora or a darn king palm, but it's the one that gets really fat, and it's not really suited for cold places. And this is the first year it was outside. The center leaf rotted and came out, so I thought, that's it, killed her. But then I seen what's left of this fried leaves coming out, and then there's a brand new leaf here coming up. So I didn't kill her. I was so happy, because I've almost killed this palm tree 3 times. 3 different times. Not sure what I did the first time. The second time, I took her from a pretty dark room inside into the too hot of sun, fried her leaves, and then this time it was the winter. But she made it, so I think she'll have enough time to get firmly established, and then probably next year I'll put her in the ground somewhere and see if we can't grow a, whatever this is, fan palm. Here is Angel's Trumpet. Have that featured in a video from last year, covered in blooms with the big pink blooms that hang down over a foot long underneath it. Just beautiful. This is out of its element. This is an Australian bottle tree. First year also, it was in the pot. It was in the same pot with this palm. Both of these I grew from seed from plants that were in my yard in Arizona before I moved here over 5 years ago now. Top froze this winter, but she didn't die, as you can see, and so I'm so glad at least she's gonna live. And she kind of has a drooping, cascading look, sort of like a willow, and this even looks like willow foliage, but actually the leaves, when they get mature, they're more like this and bigger. They're like three-lobed. And anyway, she's gonna pull through. Come onto the upper deck. Got me some nasturtium plants going. These are variegated. You can eat all parts of a nasturtium. They taste something like peppery. See a little bit of the variegation in this one. You can eat the flowers. You can garnish with the flowers. Stir fry the foliage. Most of the time it's just grown for flowers, annual flowers. But it's nice to know you can eat them too. So if you were doing some trimming or something, you can just throw your trimmings in a stir fry. Alright, and over here I've got a camellia. All this super shiny new growth has just come out this year. She really didn't bloom. Here's a bud. It just didn't go. She's still establishing. This will be the second year she's here. And so once she's established, I think next year she'll really bloom. And she's got just big old huge round flowers that are marbled white and sort of a peachish pink. And then behind that I've got another clematis. I don't know where that glare is coming from or what, but that's a super vivid violet colored clematis. And then a couple years ago, maybe even 3, I picked up 4 clematis at the end of season when they were just spindly stick looking, not very, didn't look like much, weren't labeled except for color. And so I picked up 4 different ones in 1 gallons for like $3 a piece. So I really didn't know what I was getting, but boy did I luck out, because here's what I got. This is the first color and kind, and you would think the next one I'm going to show you is the same one, but it's not, and you'll see why. This bad boy, and see, this middle will open and open and open and open and open for a long time, and that thing will end up being just this crazy frilly. I didn't even know they had this kind of clematis. I'd never seen one, never heard of one. I'm into clematis, so you can always just find or luck out, another version of a plant you like, because there's just so dang many hybrids now, and they're constantly, hybridizing new kinds, and and I just really, really lucked out, because I'm just stoked by this thing. It's just, look at that. Unbelievable. And got it growing up this wire here. It'll grow on up towards the roof, and then it's growing up that way. I think, well, I'm pretty sure I know that's a different one. It may be this one here, but like I said, I had 4 colors, and I think I've only seen, and I know one of them was red, but I haven't seen it bloom. So maybe all 4 plants didn't make it. Who knows? So we're gonna just watch and wait and see. But I'm so happy, even if just these 2 lived. Even if this just one lived, I'd be totally happy, because it means I paid $12 for it. And like I said, for a really rare, something you've never even seen or heard of, yeah, I'll take it. My ponytail palm, brought that with me from Arizona. Had that since the kids were little kids. Now they're getting to be, well, one of them's an adult, young adult, and my daughter's 16, so she's been around with us for a while. And down here is the shade garden. We're gonna walk down and take a look, closer look, but I've really gotten into hostas since I have a shade garden. And we'll talk about those here in a second. First, I want to show you my geranium or pelargonium. Look at that. I don't know if you can see it good in the lighting, but that is just a really cool paint job. And she does bloom with red flowers, even with that spectacular foliage. Here's another clematis. This one blooms in the fall with white, not particularly showy, but very fragrant flowers. And clematis are usually not fragrant flowers. This will be her first full year to get established. And then I just cut down an elm tree that I have an abundance of back in the woods and made that climbing post for her and a place for the hanging pots to hang. Here in the planter boxes, I've got, well, you can see all these tomatoes coming up just from seeds that was in there from last year. Now I did plant some that I really want. Well, I want some of those, but I don't want 500. But anyway, I've got this little one here, this little one here that I planted from seeds. These are all from the cherry tomato that was here. And actually I put okra seeds in here, which I may transplant. I'm not sure yet, because I'll show you the planter that I built over the weekend. And so I've got plenty of space to put bigger things. And I want to keep like shorter, more things that need to be manicured, like maybe like, I don't know, lettuce or squash. I got squash planted in this one. And a cucumber right there. And who knows what these are? Yep, you probably guessed right, but you had to make two guesses because I've got blackberries and raspberries in here. I'm trying to dial in on a berry, but I can't see my screen that good in the sun, but this sucker's pretty loaded. Now I'm out of focus. What on earth is going on here? There we go. I don't know what's going on. My viburnum tree is in full bloom, and that's why I had to grab the camera, because I want to catch her in her peak. She's starting to come out of her peak, but she's still peaked enough. But look at that, it looks like it snowed. This is my black weed cloth I just put down around this area to make it easy to fight weeds and grass and everything. But I mean, just look at this. And I have let's see, 1, 2, 3 kinds of viburnum. This one was here. All the bigger things were here, and mainly around the house when I moved here. And then I've put in quite a few smaller things. Let's test the gardeners watching to see if they know what vegetable plant this is. Leave a comment in the comments if you know what vegetable this is gonna be. Okay, I've got what I think is a pretty rare azalea. Usually they're in reds and pinks and purples, but rarely do you see vivid orange. Look at that. That is amazing. There's the pink one back in the back there. That's usually the color you see. And this one kind of grows in a sort of a spindly, maybe if it was in more sun it wouldn't, but it's almost more like a small tree. I don't really like the round bush thing shape, so I don't hedge trim my stuff. I want my stuff to be more natural looking. And then we've got a huge hosta next to it. That's just gorgeous. And I've propagated quite a few of this particular hosta throughout my shade garden because there's an abundance of them growing around my house. Now over here along the drive, see if I can zoom in, I've got an azalea, and for some reason I'm not remembering the name of this one to the left, but it makes rhododendron. It makes a beautiful flower. They come in different colors, usually pink. Then over here, this little tree is a red buckeye tree, covers itself with red. It's still getting established, so it's probably not going to bloom till at least next year. And next to that, I've got a pieris, beautiful bell-shaped, hanging pink flowers. She might bloom this year, but probably next year. All these little ones are still getting established. Here I got a dragon tree. He's back up. I can't see my screen real good, so hopefully it's not too bad. Little dragon trees. And they got this new green growth coming on. You can see they have these little bitty pine cone looking things. And these are a dwarf variety. They'll get 10 to 12 feet instead of 50. And just a pretty evergreen. Same with this. This is a Colorado blue spruce. New foliage is real, just beautiful, soft, nice. Old foliage will stick the crap out of you. But just a beautiful tree, beautiful specimen. And those things can live for hundreds of years and get just enormously tall. Extremely tall, huge, huge trees. But it takes many years for that to happen. And I'll be long gone before that tree's even considered big. This, I'm sure you probably know what that is if you're into plants and trees. Chinese elm. Or I'm sorry, Chinese elm. Chinese maple. Or Japanese maple. I might be getting my plants all wrong, but look at that foliage. Just dark, deep, reddish wine purple color. And just awesome. Awesome. Alright, let's make our way to the shade garden. Got some more iris here. These are, I brought these with me. Got some aphids on this one. These are really cool. The top petals are purple and the bottom petals are white. So they're a bi-colored iris, which is pretty cool. Here's the outside of the climbing rose I was telling you about. Here's the piece we looked at reaching up there. But look at the buds on this thing. It is loaded. Loaded. She is gonna be covered. Both of these roses I transplanted from under the oak tree. There's one here. This is not a climber, but it's got beautiful, beautiful pink flowers and a new growth coming up right here, looking great. I put a couple columbines kind of next to her, kind of give her a little bit of shelter while she's getting established and whatnot. And plus, it just looks cool. I'm not into the like super manicured garden. I want things sort of natural and even a little wild. So having this columbine kind of growing with this rose looks a little wild, but I like it. I don't mind it. Daylily there. This is some sort of a ornamental grass. Took it from the lawn where it just got mowed numerous times. It never gets a chance to do what it does, but it actually puts out a little blue flower that's just the cutest thing you ever saw. And there's one under the oak tree. Probably not getting enough light. This one may not. It gets some direct morning sun. But look at her. I mean, she's just really looking healthy and happy. And this will be her second year here since I transplanted her from just a little clump. I mean, you know, the blades were that big because of the lawnmower. And so she's getting established, and can't wait to see. I think the little blue flowers will be a little bigger because the plant that they were on was smaller. Columbines, purple kind. I really love purple. It's one of my favorite colors. And these sort of are just naturalized in here. I scatter seeds, and it's an out of the way place. My phone's blinking. I think I just lost you. So this will be part 2 since my phone space is limited. Columbine, I'm gonna have to move a little quicker, I guess, because I don't know how dang much time I do have. I think I'm gonna lose you right here. Shit. Anyway, I'll let it go over, switch